welcome folks to the Strange and Uncanny. I'm Dane. I'm going to be your host on this channel. If you haven't noticed, this is a brand new thing. Very first episode, so I'm going to give you a heads up. This is not a reaction channel. We will be talking about cryptids, aliens, lost civilizations, anything from the Nephilim to the mud floods, any kind of crazy ass conspiracies. This channel's purpose is basically we're going to go through a few things. We'll go through dates, subjects. Then it's up to you to do your own research. Too many people watch these videos, these reaction videos, and think they're experts. Well, you're not an expert. I'm not an expert. There's anybody that thinks they're an expert on a lot of this stuff, they're really not, because every theory is just that. It's a theory. There's no definitive proof on a lot of it. Some theories may be better than others, but until we actually find out, it's not necessarily the truth either. So, with this being a new channel, I do want to let people know that it's for entertainment purposes only. I eventually do want to do some live events. I want to have guests, maybe multiple guests. We'll see how that goes. Halloween's coming up, which is one of my favorite holidays ever growing up. So I thought I would start this out with maybe a little bit something about me, my personal life. In the, would have been maybe 96, 97, me and my wife and 4 kids, we rented a farmhouse out in the middle of just nowhere. I mean, dirt road was about 3 miles to even get to the house. We lived there for, thinking 4 or 5 years, something like that. And the house was always creepy. I mean, this house was huge. It had 6 bedrooms in it, 5 fireplaces. It was big. Set on 100, and I believe it was 122 acres, something like that. But you always felt eerie in the house. The house was built in, like I said, 1876 by the family that actually we leased the house from. The house was never for sale. They would lease it out to other farmers to farm it, but it would not ever leave the family. We always had creepy things happen. You'd see somebody walking across up in the... There were 5 windows at the top of the house. You'd see somebody walk by those. Our oldest daughter, she took the bedroom right off of the kitchen, which was called a servant's quarters. There was one stairwell that come up out of the... It looked like you had 3 steps that went up. There was a door, and then it kind of L-shaped around and went up to just a single bedroom. No other entrance to this bedroom. You couldn't get to it from the rest of the upstairs. And she was sitting on her bed one night, and me and my wife are down in the kitchen. We hear her scream. She runs down the steps. She gets to the bottom of the steps, and all of a sudden we hear a crash from the upstairs. So we go upstairs. It looks like somebody just took their arm completely across her dresser. Shit was just all over the place. We went back downstairs, calmed her down, which took a while. She was pretty freaked out. And so we talked to her, and we asked her what had happened. And she said that she was sitting on her bed, the lights flickered. She had a day bed. And the lights flickered. She didn't think a whole lot about that. And then all of a sudden she felt her bed compress down. And she could see the bed move. So she screamed, got up, ran down the steps. I actually believe that whatever it was, I think she scared it by screaming. Because we had so many different events happen in the house. And nothing like that. It was all... how do I want to say it, more friendly interactions. That's why I believe that she probably just scared it. My brother-in-law, he was, him and my sister-in-law would they would come out and we would party, and they would stay all night. They lived pretty far away, and he was sleeping in one of the extra bedrooms upstairs, and we are all downstairs. This is the next morning. This would have been a Sunday morning, and we were eating breakfast, and he come down the steps, and he's accusing everybody of messing with him while he's sleeping and all this, and everybody's looking at him like he's nuts or still hungover or what the hell's wrong with him. But anyhow, long story short, he said something like he thought it was me with like a sheet over me or something. He said it was really dark in the room. And something kept tickling his feet and pulling the blanket off his feet. So he finally got up. So after that event, he didn't want to stay in the house too much anymore. We had several events. Nothing, I think a lot of it was residual. I know that the home at one time hosted several funerals. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I'm not going to give the location of the place or anything like that. There's actually people, I believe, that rent it. But this is also kind of funny. It goes with that story. After we'd moved out, I received a message on my computer, and this was, we're talking like Windows 95 days, then Windows 98, around that era. And it was from a friend of mine, and he had happened to have rented the house after we did. And all he put was the address, and I typed back haunted. It was in an email. And he said, no shit. He said, we rented that. He said, we stayed there for right around 6 to 8 weeks. And he said that was just about all we could take. And they got out of the house. It freaked them out. We just must have got used to living with it. And I'm not going to lie to you, we drank quite a bit back then. So maybe that's has something to do with it. But I've, luckily in my life, I've got to experience some pretty wild things. I've got to spend time in old plantation homes in South Carolina. And when I mean spend time, I don't mean like a tour. I worked for a company that we did water, flood, fire restoration, mold restoration, and remediation. And we got to go into a lot of these homes when I lived there. And I'll tell you, some of them was pretty damn scary. There's one in particular, and I'm not going to say the name of it either, but it set back this lane all by itself behind these iron gates. Beautiful property. There was a well on the property. It looked like it was straight out of the ring or whatever, where the girl comes out of the well. Looked just like it, but beautiful property nonetheless. And we were doing work in it, and being the asshole I am, all the guys I was working with were younger, so I was messing with them, and I was trying to call out the ghosts. This was a 3-story plantation home. Beautiful. And they said that one of the rumors is if on the 3rd floor there was bunk beds and a queen bed, and that if you would make the bed out real nice when you left, and when you came back, the bed would be messed up. So we were going to go to lunch, and we had to drive all the way over to Georgetown. We were outside of Georgetown. There's several areas outside of Georgetown. And so we drove into Georgetown, and we flattened all the beds out real nice. When we come back, I swear as I'm sitting here, we went upstairs. We were the only ones with keys. No one else could access the house. We go up to the 3rd floor, and I'll be damned, it looked like little kids had been jumping off of the bunk beds onto the queen bed. You could see little footprints. Then we go into another room, and it looked like somebody had grabbed the blankets like between their thumb and index finger and pulled. It was so odd. And then when we was getting ready to leave, I was messing around, and I was calling out ghosts, which I probably shouldn't have been. And there was a great big huge box that was leaning this way towards the wall, and the I believe it would be the parlor room, and it fell this way, which impossible. If it would have fell this way, I could have seen it, but this way, not so much. But those are some of my experiences, and I really hope to see you and talk to you guys in further episodes. Till then.